Barack Obama, all right, the nicest Nobel Peace Prize winner to ever preside over 3 wars simultaneously, just successfully ordered his first contract killing. And we're going to take a look at it and see if it hurts his Peace Prize credentials, and then how the press covered it. The important thing is how the press frames it. How do they go at it? Well, here's Nightline.
Right now, somewhere on planet Earth, a U.S. Navy SEAL is walking around thinking, I just shot Osama bin Laden in the face.
Okay. So, and right now there's a TV executive thinking, I wish I could shoot myself in the head. And we look at the somber tone that was struck by our college students as they pondered the real meaning of Osama bin Laden's death.
You're all students, right?
Yeah!
So how are you feeling about what happened to him?
I feel great right now! It's America! It's time to party right now! He's dead!
We love him!
Seems for the kids that finally killing Osama bin Laden has made America's youth pensive about the true costs of the war on terror. Barack Obama, our favorite guy, put a bullet in the head of Osama bin Laden. And so I'm watching, but I'm going to just take us through some of the television coverage of it, some of the news coverage. And we'll start off with the clip I played at the top of the show. I was watching Bill O'Reilly. He had the chairman of the Homeland Security Department committee in the Congress on Representative Peter King, and here's their little bit of their conversation.
Right off the bat, tell me something I don't know. Tell us something we don't know.
Well, I don't know if everyone knows this or not, but you mentioned the fact that we obtained information several years ago, vital information about the courier for Obama. We obtained that information through waterboarding. And so for those who say that waterboarding doesn't work, to say that it should be stopped and never used again, we got vital information which directly led us to bin Laden.
Wow.
Also,
wait, let me stop you there. I did not know that, and I'm sure most of my audience did not at all.
Key information we got on a very, very vital part.
That is absolutely fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. You're not going to hear that on the other networks, I guarantee you.
Okay, I don't even know why he says that. I've been hearing nothing but that.
And also just the idea, well, Peter King has just said this. It has to be true. Yeah. You know, he doesn't challenge it at all. Where did you hear that? How do you know that? As if Obama and his aides don't really have access to the real. Peter King happens to really know.
Well, he's got to be credible. He sounds like Albert Finney doing an American accent. Doesn't he sound like Albert Finney?
Yes,
he does.
Now, some people disagree with Peter King, like John McCain, who had just gotten briefed by CIA Director Leon Panetta and was asked about the torture and if it had anything to do with this operation, and he said this.
So far, I know of no information that was obtained which would have been useful that by, quote, enhanced interrogation.
Okay, and that was even backed up by Donald Rumsfeld. Now, anybody who should know anything about torture will be Donald Rumsfeld, right? So here's Donnie.
It is true, as I understand it, that some information that came from normal interrogation approaches in Guantanamo did lead to information that was beneficial in this instance. But it was not harsh treatments, and it was not waterboarding.
Okay, so that was on Monday. That was so he said we got the information, wasn't harsh, it wasn't the enhanced, and they got some. But some people disagree with him, with Donald Rumsfeld. Like, for instance,
anyone who suggests that the enhanced techniques, let's be blunt, waterboarding, did not produce an enormous amount of valuable intelligence just isn't facing the truth.
Okay, well, I wish you would go back and tell yourself that.
The torture isn't as painful as when they pull these facts out of their ass.
But and so this really is bringing up this debate again, this torture debate, and the reason why this debate is happening is because Barack Obama chose to not prosecute people who tortured. And that's why it's still like this unsettled question. And, the reason why you have to prosecute people who tortured was because if you don't, then people will keep doing it in the future.
Right. And they're, it's amazing how they're all latching on to torture and waterboarding as the one thing that they want to emphasize is that we tortured and waterboarded people. The one thing that to justify the incompetence of the Bush-Cheney administration.
Could we ease into the waterboarding and just waterboard Goldman Sachs executives and just see how that works? Because I don't think anybody would oppose that.
No.
Well, is it torture? I mean, here's what Donnie Rumsfeld said.
People are equating waterboarding with torture, and I think that's a mistake.
Oh, sure. Of course you would, because you were the guy who ordered it. That would be, you wouldn't want.
Also, I don't understand about the logic. If it isn't torture, then why do it? You know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. If it doesn't make someone physically in enough pain to give up the information. And here's another thing. If it does work, if like he said, it was an enormously successful program, we got lots of information, why would you stop? Why would you stop doing it? Why wouldn't you do it all the time? I don't know. That's no one ever asked. I have yet to hear someone ask a pro-torture person that question.
Well, waterboarding creates a heightened relationship between the lungs and oxygen.
Well, also the way, one of the reasons why that no one is asking that is because the media seems to be in favor of torture.
Yes.
And I've noticed that, like Brian Williams, and I saw Martin Bashir, the way they phrase their question is, doesn't this prove that torture works and enhanced interrogation and waterboarding is a technique that we should use? That's how, when Brian Williams talked to Leanne Panetta, that's how he phrased his question from my memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I did see that interview, but I don't remember. My head was already spinning, and I was paying more attention to Leon Panetta in that, and he was really parsing his words to the point where it wasn't worth playing on the show.
Yes.
But maybe the important thing was Brian Williams asking the question, and I missed it.
Well,
Thanks,
I think a lot
Thanks
of
for embarrassing me on the show, Frank.
I think Brian Williams doesn't understand the real pain of torture. I'm going to assume he's never had to watch his own show.
Yes.
Well, a lot of the mainstream media, they lean in favor of things like torture because the whole reason that it happened was the Iraq War, which they played a big part in making happen.
Yes.
So.
But I don't think Brian Williams even consciously does that. I just think I don't think it's at NBC News and the other major networks. I don't think it's a conscious decision to censor things. I think they just want to give, just take the easiest route. To presenting stuff.
I think when you talk about Brian Williams, I don't think that he's doing it consciously either. I think the reason why he rose to that position is because it comes so unconsciously to him.
Yes.
Because it's such a reflex to him.
Because he's not he doesn't seem to be a curious person.
He doesn't. No, he doesn't.
It's not an important quality in journalism.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to He doesn't seem to have a belief in the importance of what he's doing.
Yes.
He really does. He doesn't think that he has a mission to inform people. I don't think Brian Williams does that.
Or think about a standard that has maybe been lost in that medium.
I would disagree with Frank. I don't think that the media intentionally placates the right. I think that in this instance they went for torture because it's good, it's prurient, it's exciting, it's glamorous. There's a
sensational quality.
There's a sensational quality, and the reality is all other intelligence gathering is incredibly dull.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's really boring.
Sure. It's certainly not as exciting as torturing someone. That is certainly true. Now, Donald Rumsfeld said that if you equate waterboarding with torture, it's wrong. Well, let's ask a former CIA guy and the author of The Interrogator. Does waterboarding break any laws or regulations, treaties, executive orders, anything like that?
But the fact is that it transgresses the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the Convention Against Torture, the Geneva Conventions, Executive Order 12333 for the CIA. It's quite clear.
Okay, so you are making a mistake if you say it's torture, I guess. Even though it does all those things, because that's what Donald Rumsfeld said. I don't even know what this clip is, and I'm going to play it.
People are equating waterboarding with torture. And I think that's a mistake.
Okay, I guess you would say so.
Let's be clear, Donald Rumsfeld didn't think that was a mistake, and one attorney at the White House thought that was a mistake.
Do you think Donald Rumsfeld tortured just because he's so angry that he's a senior and he still sounds like he's in puberty?
I think you're making a mistake when you're equating torture with torture. I don't think that's
you really make a mistake when you equate torture with torture. Donald Rumsfeld had a little bit more to say about it.
The President of the United States authorized the waterboarding. It was done to 3 people by the CIA, not by the military, and it produced an enormous amount of very, very valuable intelligence information.
See, it's not torture because Donald Rumsfeld said it wasn't, and because the president ordered it, and because the CIA did it, and it was only done to 3 people. So if it's only done to 3 people, that means it's not torture. What the hell kind of logic is that? And let's go back to the CIA guy.
That's the information that eventually broke the case and let us find Osama bin Laden was obtained a year after any enhanced interrogation techniques were stopped with him and had nothing directly to do with them. So I think the answer for that narrow fact is that the current rewriting of history is wrong.